What's up, upstanders? What's up, fam? Yeah, I just want to spend and share my thoughts on the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock, Jada Pinkett situation. And I've been going back and forth with so many of you over these last few days. And I'm just going to lay it all out and also talk about what we need to do going forward. We talk about being upstanders and not bystanders. We got to talk about some upstanding work that we can do. But let me just break it all down. This is no notes, it's just my reaction. Look, I don't watch the Oscars, or to be quite honest, for a lot of reasons we don't have to go into now. So I fell asleep on my couch, and I woke up at 1:30, and my brothers were talking about this. And I'm like, I'm going back to sleep. I'm not watching this. I don't know what happened, but of course it was a video, and you got to click on the video. So I clicked on the video, and this was like 1:30, and I tried to go back to sleep, and I couldn't sleep for 3 hours. I was just lying in my bed, tossing and turning. I was so distraught by what I saw that I was just hurt. And a lot of us who have been debating this, and we'll debate this for years to come, we are debating this and talking about this from a place of hurt. Because when we talk about Will Smith and Jada and Chris Rock, they are family. To the best that any person who's a celebrity can be our family, that's who they are. And let me give you a little context as it relates to me. If there's any type of celebrity that you could have love for and affection for me, that person, those two people have been Will Smith and Jada. As somebody who's been involved in entertainment as a rapper, actor, performer, I've always wanted to pattern my life off of what Will Smith did. In one of my raps, I actually say Will Smith is one of the greatest rappers of all time. To be able to craft a career and get to the level of his success with no swearing or cursing, it's incredible. And it's something I've always aspired to do and wish other rappers would do. So that's the level of love and affection I had for him and have, I should say. And Jada Pinkett, same thing. Elegance, class, since day one. Since the minute these two went public in terms of their TV shows, Will Smith rapping and Jada, I guess, went national. I know little things before that, but like different world. I've been riding with them. Before we had Obama and Michelle, before we had Jay-Z and Beyonce, our community had Will Smith and Jada to look to. And look, throughout this whole conversation, I'm not getting into anything relating to their marriage and all of the open relationship stuff. That's not my business. I'm not going there. I'm just talking about the image that they've represented for me and the love that I had for what they did and have been trying to do. And Chris Rock later on came in as somebody who I also respected. So that's why I couldn't sleep, because I'm seeing these guys who I respect engage in an act of violence. And my response here today is that Will was wrong. Chris Rock should apologize. And we have to remember that Jada Pinkett Smith is a victim in this, and people need to stop blaming her for stuff. And people want to forget her in this whole situation because we're caught up in macho, two men going at each other. So, as much love and respect as I have for Will Smith, I got to say from jump, he was wrong. And one of the things I found myself asking was, Will Smith, are you protecting Jada, or are you protecting my wife, your wife? Because, Will Smith talks about in his book, Will, which is a powerful book, which all of us should read. He talks about his challenges about not being able to protect his mother from his father. And one of the reasons he turned to comedy and comedic stuff with his music and everything was as a shield, as a way to cope with what he was dealing with. And then he talks about a situation where he's at his house, and his girlfriend at the time is going out, and Will's around with his boys, and she's like, I want to go out. He's like, nah, I think you need to stay home. She's like, I'm going out. He's like, you need to stay home. She goes out and embarrasses him like that. And he says he took all of her stuff and burns it. And then he talks about situations where he gets into these altercations at NBC. And so part of me, and then, coming out of hip hop, there's this whole mentality of you got to protect what's mine. You got to protect what's mine. And Will Smith, Jay, all of these guys grew up at a time where people were getting killed just for stepping on somebody's sneakers because of this protect what's mine, respect what's mine type of mentality. And so I just found myself wondering if there was some of that going on as he sat down. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Keep my wife's name. And that was how I viewed it at first. And I still view some of it now like that. And then, for us to have these memes of two black men engaging in an act of violence forever, it's just problematic for me. And I wish that Will had a little bit more restraint at the end of the day. And I think that there was something into him choosing to slap Chris Rock as opposed to punching him. because there's this idea in our community, and I don't use this language, but this idea of the bitch slap, the pimp slap. That's when you do it with the backhand, right? And you're just demeaning somebody, and I feel like some of that was there as opposed to a punch, man to man type of punch. And I feel like there was something there as well in terms of how he wanted to embarrass Chris Rock. That's how I see it. Now we come to Chris Rock. And I feel like Chris Rock owes an apology to Jada, not to Will, but to Jada. And some people say, well, he's a comedian. You got to open yourself up to everything. A lot of jokes are made that night. But I feel like when there's a joke that's targeting somebody's medical condition, that crosses the line. Now, some people say that Chris Rock may not have known, and that's fine. But here's the question I have. If somebody has cancer and they're bald, and you make a joke about them, and you do not know that they have cancer, but you find out later that that's the reason they are bald, shouldn't you apologize? Even in, make a phone call? As a comedian, is that you don't have that type of right to be a decent person, to have some type of class? I don't have this notion. Look, I've grown up in the Richard Pryor, all of these guys, in terms of comedians saying the most vile, I should say, things and all of that, and we've given them passes over the years, and I get that. But can we do a little bit better, as Jada talks about being a healing space? So if he knew, it was definitely wrong. If he didn't know and he finds out later, like, hey, I didn't know, Jada. And look, he claims, as he said in his skits and his sketches, I got love for you, Jada, as he says that before he targets her on different things. Get out there and do that. I believe that that's the adult thing to do. I believe that as speakers, and that's what he is, a professional speaker, as a host and so on and so forth, you do that. And then lastly, I believe that there's a lot of misogyny in how people are looking at this situation. Because online, as soon as I say Chris Rock should apologize, the first thing is he doesn't owe Will an apology. See? It's all about the man-to-man stuff. And people are like, well, Will Smith defended his wife. Look, if Chris Rock put his hands on her, then Will Smith is justified in what he did. Protecting your partner doesn't have to automatically turn into a violent thing. There are lots of ways. Yeah, Will Smith could have got back at Chris Rock. Will Smith has a bigger platform. There are lots of things that we can do. So we're just a society that's too comfortable with accepting violence as a response to things. And so I feel like we've lost Jada in this, because people are talking about all this man-to-man stuff, that there's a woman and people are saying, well, she got Will Smith to turn on him and all of this. Well, Will laughed, and then he turned to Jada, and Jada just looked at him and got him to spark this. And look, at the end of the day, we got to work on controlling our emotions, and I believe that. And we blame Miley Cyrus for this whole thing with Robin Thicke, and she shouldn't be dancing on a married man like that. This guy was a 36-year-old married man at the time, but we talk about her. I mean, come on, Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake. We find ways to blame Janet Jackson for getting her bra plate pulled off by Justin Timberlake. We always want to find ways to blame a woman. That's the easy go-to in society. And we got to be better than that. And I believe that we should look at Jada in terms of what's lost and how we need to protect our women in terms of how we talk about them, right? We need to protect our sisters in the Black community as it relates to how we address them. And if Will Smith, if Will Jones did that on the street, protecting his wife, he could have got shot, locked up, lost his job. And so they didn't represent what it means to be a role model. And people think I'm contradicting myself here and saying this. No, I don't think that I am. I believe that we need to put more attention in the conversations we have about women, and the conversations we have about Black women, and the way that we center them negatively, and look at ways to make them the victim or the perpetrators and blame them for situations that they should not be blamed for. And I believe that when I talk about Chris Rock owing her an apology, that's what I'm talking about. So look, at the end of the day, I got love for all of them. It hurt me and hurt many of our community because we have so much love for all three of them. And I really commend Will Smith for apologizing. That's the type of class act I've known Will Smith to be over the years. I appreciate him doing that. Now people are going to say, well, it's because he didn't want to lose the Oscar, or after the Academy because he didn't apply to Chris Rock in the moment. I'm not getting into all of that. The fact of the matter, he's did, and up until this moment, Chris Rock hasn't said anything. So I respect Will Smith on that. At some point, even when the mistakes are made, you got to try to heal. And like Will Smith said, he's a work in progress. We're all works in progress. And so I'm riding with them all. Until people start to show me that they don't want to be better, then I can't really mess with you anymore. So in our community, look, at the end of the day, let's all figure out how we can heal ourselves. And so many of us are talking about this situation from the perspective of our own personal healing and pain and things that we've experienced. And we got to do better so we can build this beloved community, so we can build an upstanding community and ultimately work to move on as a family. We're hurting as a family right now, and I believe that we can heal as a family. And that's what I'm going to use my platform to work to do for anybody who wants to engage in that conversation. And I hope many of you all will do the same with your platform and the places and spaces that you occupy. So let's do that. Be upstanders and not bystanders for everybody. And let's tone down any type of ignorance or rhetoric or vitriol devoted towards any of these guys as we work to build that community. Peace.